Hello, everyone.
And welcome to the Touchliner.
Introduce yourself. Okay, and introduce yourself.
It's me.
Okay,
Okay.
we got Vicstar and
Fat Man.
Bazinga. So
Bazinga. FYI, the Chelsea fan we reference all the time.
yes, with the worst takes.
Is this lard man here? How are you feeling about being here today?
Really excited to be back on the show after being on last year.
Show.
Really excited and welcome for some great takes.
Great takes. Speaking of great takes.
Speaking of great takes,
Are you going to be delivering any great takes today?
We'll see, won't we?
Are you going to give any real answers or
I'll give some real answers.
Yes.
I'll see what the vibe is.
any dodgy answers?
Deji promise.
Oh,
okay.
So we've got a couple of things we're going to go through.
Season review. isn't
Season
it?
review,
Yeah.
yes. We're going to have a little chat. Do you want to give us a couple of examples of what we're going to be talking about? Then we'll start with number one.
Ladies,
On the
okay,
list.
let's be honest.
There's no
Gentlemen,
ladies. Yes.
we are going to be talking about Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Team of the Season, some surprise players, a bunch of other stuff basically to do with the season, what's happened, what's not happened, and we're going to talk a bit about next season. So, we can begin our review now.
Here we go.
Do you want to start from Mr. Chasney?
Chasney,
We'll go this. this way
Chasney,
round.
Josh Gay, chap of the dub, and
Chap of the dub.
That is disgusting, I think.
Bumfoon?
That's a
Bumfoon.
Bumfoon?
crazy self nickname. Okay.
okay.
Bumfoon. Okay, well, we're going to start with Player of the Year.
My player of the year is pretty simple. I'm pretty sure everyone would agree with this. Mo Salah.
Player of the year, yeah. Okay.
Most goals, most assists. If you take him out of Liverpool's team, I don't think they would be as far ahead in the title race as they are. They wouldn't have wrapped up this early. I can't really think of anyone else that gets to that level of output that he's done this season. As much as I don't like
Palmer?
him. Well, he's got half the goals, 14.
Yeah, because he fell off second half of the season.
Yeah, he was injured for bits of it, but no,
Ah.
he wasn't injured at all.
Hello, fans.
Yeah. So it's an easy one. this
Easy
one.
choice.
Easy one.
Wait, have we all got Salah?
We've all got
We've all
Salah.
got Salah.
Okay.
Painstakingly, but yes, I do have Salah there. Best
Even
player
though
in the
this
league.
man thinks that Yamal.
Yeah, Yamal's better than Salah. As a technical player, but at the end,
answer.
in 5 years he'll be far better. But right now, Salah, he's got the output. I don't think he's as good as good of a footballer as he was when Mane and Firmino were in the team. But he scores more and he assists more, and that's what wins you titles, Arsenal fans. Anyway, we're moving on to Young Player of the Year. So I think this will be a bit more divided.
Okay.
I'd hope.
Okay.
So let's
Yeah.
get the start here.
So I've got two. I've got one that I think is maybe a lot more obvious than the second one, and then a second one which is more of a player that's come out of nowhere that maybe hasn't been as regarded as the first one, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So my first one is Dean Howsam for Bournemouth.
Ooh.
Obviously,
Okay.
at the time of when we've done this, I think he's off to Real Madrid.
pretty much on
Off to
confirmed.
Madrid,
And he
yeah.
scores,
The Galacticos.
So
some would say.
so for me, it's a pretty obvious one. He's kind of helped Bournemouth be as they're top half of the table.
Has there ever been a Bournemouth player that's gone to Real Madrid?
Not
I
for.
was going to say it's the first time they've
Well,
probably ever.
a long time.
Do you not remember Steve Cook at the Bernabeu?
Steve Cook.
Yeah, so I think for me that's a pretty obvious
Yeah.
one.
Huijsen,
the,
yeah.
the one that
Huijsen
is
sauce?
yeah. So the one that it's not. So at the time of recording again, they just announced like the nominees for Young Player of the Year.
Yeah.
This one isn't in it, but I think is a bit more off the radar.
Here we go.
It's Nico O'Reilly for Man City.
Ah.
So the
okay.
reason I say Nico O'Reilly. So obviously he came into the team around about January. They signed Nico Gonzalez, Kushanov, Vittori Ice, and
Kusanov.
and Marmouche. They
Yeah.
signed all these players because obviously they dropped off around about
Needed a
November,
rebuild, didn't they?
December. And he's kind of come through their academy and
Yeah.
has kind of been one of their mainstay midfielders. Like, he played
yes.
left back and he's
Over all
start-
of the signings, really.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
just scored like
he scored against Everton.
didn't he?
He scored basically the goal that got them the win against
Yeah.
Everton. And he's kind of been a mainstay within that City team.
Would you call him more of a breakout star rather than
yeah,
young player of the
yeah,
year?
I think that was one more like hear me
Honourable
out.
mention.
Because
Yeah, honourable
I
mention.
would probably have more ahead of him, but I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
he doesn't get enough I don't think he's got any reputation
true.
really.
Yeah.
At least among the wider football community. So that was one I
Because
wanted to just.
a lot of City fans aren't from England, so they'll just be like, Marmouche, I love Marmouche.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Well,
They don't care about O'Reilly.
yeah. So I think for me, the obvious one is Dean Howson, and then it was more of a kind of like breakout with Nico O'Reilly. So
Okay.
that was my two.
Yeah, I think if O'Reilly, I think if City win the FA Cup, there'll be more attention because right now they've not had a great great season by their standards. But yeah, I see you. I hear you. My young player of the year is also Howson.
Yes,
But my honourable mention, well, obviously you have to include Palmer in there because yes, he did fall off a bit, but he's
Okay,
he's still one of Chelsea's most effective players.
Yeah.
Highest GNA ? I think still.
Yeah. Okay.
At our club.
Just at the season. Yeah. And yeah, I think he has fallen off a bit. He's still a good player, and I think he needs to up the level.
I think he's just in a bad run of form at the moment.
Yeah.
He's been, I'd say from 2024, he was kind of like world class, and then the new year started, and he's only scored a handful of goals.
Yeah.
In the league. So yeah, but he's still world class. He's still good. He's still very good.
Still world class.
World class.
But yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I also wanted to give an honourable mention to United Academy graduate Anthony Elanga. I think he's been very big for Forest. You could honestly look at anyone in that Forest team and be like, you've been a big
Any
piece.
United player that's no longer at United and young is probably doing well right now. To be fair.
No, it's true, and I want to shout him out. He's done really well. Scored against us. He's always been a threat. His pace, and he's been helping a certain New Zealand striker score a lot of goals this year.
Yeah. An ex-Newcastle striker.
Interesting.
Someone's making it about Newcastle.
Yep, always making it about Newcastle.
My young player of the year, again, it's going to be Huijsen. I think a lot of clubs were looking for him. It was like Chelsea were in a race at one point. United wanted him, but I mean, I don't think he was ever really going to go to United. Newcastle wanted him. I think Bayern and Madrid were in talks for a while. Everybody wanted this guy.
Yeah.
I saw a comment on Twitter where it was a guy saying like, we don't need a small Twinkie white centre back. We need a proper centre back, which I thought was funny because he does look a bit like gangly.
He's
You know what I
quite
mean?
calm and
does.
composed on the ball.
Yeah.
which
Is he
I
left
think a lot-
footed?
Right. I'm not sure.
I think
actually.
he's
does-
right.
Right. Okay.
But
I'm not
he's
too sure.
he scored a few headers. He scored against United. I think he
Yeah.
scored against maybe Tottenham. I think
Yeah,
scored
he
the only
did.
goal against Tottenham.
Yeah.
And he's I think with the 50 mil release clause in this market, calm on the ball. I think that's what most clubs will need.
Well, to be
And
fair,
one.
Gahey as well, 55 million release clause at the moment.
Yeah.
Not release clause, but that's the valuation for him.
I think he would be a lot more expensive, like 70, 80, whereas with the release clause, they didn't expect him to be that good.
That's
and
fair
he
enough.
has done.
That's fair enough.
That's true.
Young player of the year?
Well, it has to be the one and only Liverpool midfielder, Mr.
Grab.
Is it your best mate, Grav?
Yeah, we're mates like that.
When you watch him, what do you think?
Well, I just think looking at last season, we were struggling, and we got him, but we also had to mould him into that position, and he's winning a lot of doors. He's the backbone really of Liverpool's team, especially
It's
under
true.
Slot now. He's just been so key in our attack and defense. We needed him really, and I don't think we would have done anywhere near as well if we didn't have him.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Or he became the player that we needed him to become, and
That's
he's really
true.
stepped up. And because of that,
Yeah.
I do think young player.
It's like, I suppose now it's be a good idea to try and build the team around that sort of the key players you've got in there. You've got Gravenberch in there. You've got
It's a solid midfielder.
yeah. So
Which pains me to say.
I don't mind that shout. To be fair, I don't mind. And to be fair,
It's
when
not
he
bad.
signed him, we were also well. I mean, I know we were saying like, oh, signed him and he's done fuck all.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
now-
yeah.
now
Well,
he's-
He did have a lot of injuries as well last
That's
year.
true.
And-
I thought he was a
and-
buy and flop. Yeah.
I think as one of those midfielders, he's one that you don't see like scoring loads of goals, making goal line tackles.
It's
but
everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wins a lot of doors.
Exactly.
I think
It's the unspoken stuff.
Yeah.
The,
Unsung
Dirty
hero.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Workhorse.
Right. That's our
That's young player of the
young
year.
player.